Hello book lovers, welcome to Uncommon Reader. I'm Daniela and today I've decided to join the Shorty September topic. I selected 8 books from my shelves to inspire your September reads. This year the event is hosted by Too Many Heathers, Roving Reader and Fiber Artsy Reads. So I realize that there are prompts to follow, but they're not mandatory. So I'm just going to share some books that are less than 200 and 250 pages as per the topic, of course. And some of these titles I've mostly read. There are 2 titles though that I plan to read this month, one for sure, and one probably between October and November. And of course, just like last year for Shorty September, I've chosen authors from different corners in the world. Let's start. So for each title, I will also give you a brief bio of each author in case you don't know them. We're going to start with Irene Nemirovsky. She was born in Ukraine in 1903 into a wealthy banking family. The family escaped the Russian Revolution and settled in Paris, where Irene was able to attend the Sorbonne University. And there she started her writing career, and by 1937 she had written already 10 novels. After the German occupation in France, the family relocated in the countryside, where Nemirovsky began writing Suite Française, which is her most famous novel that unfortunately went unfinished because she was captured by the Germans and she died in Auschwitz in 1942. The book I've chosen is Jezebel, which is going to be a read for my Italian channel book club for the fall. So I will probably read this between October and November once I'm back from my USA trip. This book is about a woman who's on trial. She's older, but still beautiful and elegant. She's accused of killing her much younger lover. As the trial goes on, and witnesses speak, this woman remembers moments from her past, her childhood, her distant father, her marriage, her troubled relationship with her daughter, and her slow decline. Through it all, the story portrays the inner life of a woman desperate to hold on to her youth. And I think it's also a very modern theme as well, due to nowadays this social media frenzy where everyone has to look, 20 years younger. So the next book, it's by an Italian author. I'm really happy that I have included a few Italian authors in this video. I'm pretty excited to tell you about Michela Murgia, who was born in 1972. She was an Italian writer. She was a playwright, a presenter, a commentator, known for her novels, but also for her political and social activism, especially on issues such as gender equality and anti-fascism. She made her debut in 2006 and published numerous other books, along being the co-host of a very popular podcast in Italy called Morgana. Her career was characterized by a strong media presence and a constant commitment to public debate. And she was really an extraordinarily talented debater for sure. So I've chosen Accabadora, and she published this book in 2009. Set in Sardinia in the 1950s, in rural Sardinia. This is the story of Bonaria, who's a woman known as the Accabadora. This is a dialect term for a respected and feared figure who helped the dying find peace. You know what I mean, right? She adopts Maria, a neglected girl, and hides her true role to her. But when Bonaria helps a dying man without his family permission, it causes a rift, and Maria realizes the truth. Hurt and confused, Maria leaves Bonaria's house and she moves to the north of Italy, trying to find again that sense of love and belonging that she felt with Bonaria after she was abandoned by her family. Accabadora is the first translated work by Michela Murgia in English. Unfortunately, Michela died of cancer in 2023, and throughout her illness, she was very open about it, fierce, courageous, and was a real inspiration for all her fans. And there was actually some sort of love and hate for her because she was so open, outspoken, and as I said before, a great debater, so there was no messing around with her. So her absence is definitely very loud these days. Moving on with Jasmina Reza, who is a French writer and playwright known for her successful plays Art and God of Carnage, both of which won prestigious awards. She's also famous for her novels Babylon and La Vie Normale. She began her career as an actress before establishing herself internationally as a playwright, thanks to her ability to expose human psychology and the absurdity of modern life. So the book I've chosen, which I'm going to read this month, is Happy Are the Happy. Jasmina Reza writes with sharp, clear language, revealing the loneliness, anger, and frustration hidden between everyday life. This unique book is made up of 20 short stories about love, marriage, loneliness, and the need to feel understood. Blending sadness, humor, and imagination, the short stories are sharp, original, and emotionally powerful, showing Jasmina Reza at her best. So this book was highly recommended to me by a friend, and since it's so light and tiny, I'm going to bring it with me as I'm going to go for a couple of trips before my trip to USA. So the perfect Shorty September book to bring around. So now we are moving to my adored Jack London. And do you need me to tell you a bio about Jack London? I think not, right? I mean, one of the most revered classic writers, Jack London. So the other day I went to the bookstore because I needed to buy a new release from an Italian author. And when I'm at the bookstore, I'm always like, browsing around. I never want to leave. I was just going to sit there and read my books. I was looking into the classic shelves, and they had this title that I didn't know from Jack London, The Secret Plague. And here's the Italian version. It is a very tiny novel. I think it's less than 100 pages. But the story got me so intrigued. Listen to this. In the year 2013, a world dominated by the Council of Magnates of Industry, a plague breaks out that quickly wipes out the entire human race. 60 years later, in the post-apocalyptic landscape of a California plunge back into the Stone Age, an old man, one of the very few survivors, and long convinced he was the only one, tells a handful of feral children, the grandchildren of other survivors, gathered around a fire after their daily hunt. He recounts how civilization went up in smoke when humanity, under the pretext of the unstoppable disease, hastily returned to perverse frenzy, to unimaginable levels of cruelty and barbarism. The Scarlet Plague is one of Jack London's great visionary works, and here he once again anticipates themes that a century later would become obsessive, and just makes me think of The Road by Cormac McCarthy. So, oh my God, this, yes, probably is going to be another read for September. Another Italian writer, so this is Paolo Cognetti. He's an Italian writer and director. He's born in Milan in 1973, and he is known for his connection to the mountains. He debuted with books and documentaries about the mountains, and in particularly is fond of the Aosta Valley, which are a constant in his writing and in his life. The book is called The Eight Mountains, and they made a fabulous movie about this book, which I was, very surprised that they were able to recreate the intensity of the book. The story is the one of Pietro, who is a lonely boy living in a big city, but in the summer with his family, he spends time on the Dolomites, the mountains that hug the northeastern border of Italy. So while on vacation at the foot of the mountains, Pietro meets Bruno, an adventurous, spirited local boy. Together, they spend many summers exploring the mountains, meadows, and peaks and discover the similarities and differences in their lives, their backgrounds, and their futures. The two boys come to find the true meaning of friendship, even if they choose different paths in life. Bruno can think of living anywhere else but the mountains. Instead, Pietro travels the world and he wants to become a writer. And like in many friendships, their friendship will be tested. And I'm going to stop there with the story. What I can say is that the atmospheres in this book really embrace you, and Cognetti is really a master of describing the silences and the unsaid. So it's a really touching story. The next book is a book that I read this year by Banana Yoshimoto. This is the pen name of the Japanese writer Mahoko Yoshimoto, born in Tokyo in 1964, and she's the daughter of a poet, Takaaki Yoshimoto. After studying literature in Nihon University, she debuted in 1987 with the novel Kitchen, which achieved great international success. Her works, characterized by a simple manga-influenced style, addresses themes as death, loneliness, and love, exploring the path from suffering to healing. She's super popular in Italy. The book I've chose is The Premonition. And I'm going to have the cover here in English so I can just focus on my notes here. The protagonist is Yayoi, who is 19 years old, and she feels like she's forgotten something important about her past that she can't remember. The feeling grows stronger, leading her to move in with her aunt, Yukino, who's a very strange and quiet individual, quite extravagant. Yukino lives alone in a quiet but gloomy house and has really strange habits no one understands. The two, though, get along very nicely, but one day the aunt disappears and Yayoi is determined to find her. And while she's out there, she discovers so much more while looking for her aunt. So one curious fact about Banana Yoshimoto, when I lived in California and I was meeting with Japanese friends, I would always say, oh, I love Banana Yoshimoto. And they were looking at me, a little curiously, because in Japan, she's considered a young adult writer, although in Italy, she's super famous and, all adults are buying her books and enjoy them. I feel that her success in Italy is that because she is a very emotional writer and she is able to make you connect with her characters. I think it's because the characters are the narrators of the stories and they open up about their feelings. And despite the fact that you may think that the stories that she writes are kind of similar, at the same time, they are very introspective and you can always, find something that can belong to you because she's really open about feelings. And I don't find that so often in Japanese literature, although I can't say I'm really an expert because I've only read a few authors. Moving on to the next book, another Italian writer. So you will be quite surprised about this charming book by Bernardo Zannoni, who is born in 1995. And with his first novel, My Stupid Intentions, he won a very, very popular award in Italy in 2022. That was the Campiello Prize. So My Stupid Intentions is the life story of Archie, who is a beach martin. He is born poor and injured in an accident, so he's sold by his mother and ends up working for a clever fox named Solomon, who teaches him to read using the Bible. As Archie learns about language and God, he begins to question his nature. He wishes he could live by instinct like a real animal, but he can't forget what he's learned. Torn between instinct and knowledge, he tries to make sense of his life by writing it down. This is a stunning, ambitious novel that follows an unusual protagonist that develops a keen sense of self that makes him seem almost human. And we do have this sensation while reading the book that he's a thinking, living being, no matter if he's an animal or a human. So saving the best for last, I don't know, but Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin was one of my favorite books this year. It was a buddy read with Renee of Beyond Books. James Baldwin, born in 1924, died in 1987, was a prominent American novelist, essayist, playwright, and activist known for his profound writings on race, class, and sexuality in the United States. He was born in Harlem, but he moved to France in 1948 to escape the pervasive racism he experienced in America, and which allowed him to write with greater freedom. When Giovanni's Room was published first in 1956, it shocked many with its honest portrayal of homosexuality, a topic still seen as a taboo at the time. Years later, James Baldwin explained that the book isn't just about being gay, but about the fear of loving someone. And this is actually something that I was really able to capture from the book, because he describes this protagonist, David, very harshly as well. So David, a young American in Paris, is trying to escape the life that was expected of him. While his fiancée Hella is away in Spain, he meets Giovanni, a charming and lively Italian man. And he's deeply drawn to him. Caught between his desire for a normal life with Hella and his powerful feelings for Giovanni, David struggles with love, identity, and fear. His inner conflicts will lead to heartbreak. And I'm going to stop there. You don't want to know who's going to be heartbroken and why. So read this novel. It's really exceptional. And we're done. I'm done with my choices for Shorty September. I hope you enjoyed. And do you have any more that you can suggest? That's the time in the comments. Thank you for watching. I look forward to see you back here on Common Reader. And I thank you also for supporting my channel. I'll see you soon. Take care. Happy reading. Ciao.